Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us for pricing. Team Mosso at the1916company.com for all of your pricing questions. Today, we discuss a watch that launched in 2007 and had a relatively short production run before it was superseded by a similar but U.S. Navy SEALs-themed model. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Chronograph. Launched in 2007, it was only made through about 2009. It's rare in titanium, even more so in rose gold, as you see here. It is a sizable and accomplished diving chronograph, 44 millimeters in diameter, 16.2 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 52.2 millimeters with a broad 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. On my wrist, by the way, I can't show you, but I can tell you it is very heavy. So if you like a massive luxury watch, game on. Okay, on my wrist, it actually wears just fine. Part of the reason for that is that the strap is very flexible, and it'll pull straight down out of the lugs. It doesn't want to fight and flare. I could wear this watch. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, but sometimes there is another factor, which is just how big your arms and hands are. So my arm is not going to be dwarfed by this watch, and my hand certainly isn't. So while I'm thin, you can see the lugs are not over the edge of my wrist. They're out to the edge, but they're not over the edge of my wrist. And you can see that down the barrel. The cuff shot reveals it's not going to slip under a cuff, maybe a jacket sleeve, but certainly not a tight shirt. The strap is a lovely piece. You can see it has a pleated style that adds a little bit of flexibility. On the bottom, you can see it's a brand new JLC factory vulcanized rubber strap, no crimping, no gouging, company branded. We have a matching satin finished and polished bevel, rose gold buckle. You can see we have a little bevel and then a polished flank on each side, and then the remainder of it is satinated. Taking a look at the case, it is mostly satin, though there are some small polished highlights, such as the outer portion of the bezel knurling, the raised and relieved indices on the bezel, and this little bevel that expands over the lug hood. And you can see each shoulder is very slightly beveled. There's a lot to love here. This is the famed compressor system. You can see they're all polished, and the center one is color-coded. Now, white is when you can actuate all of the functions. So I'm able to wind it. I'm able to pull the crown out and set. But because it is a compressor crown system, all I need is 1/2 turn, and now the watch is 300 meters water resistant. It's even easier for the chronograph pushers. A 1/4 turn locks these, and 1/4 turn unlocks them. Unlike a screw-down dive crown, which can be very tough to manipulate when your hands are wet, sweaty, and gloved, these are a lot easier because they have freestanding tabs that are easy to grab. Also, it's kind of hard to miss the color coding. You know that white is unlocked, and you know that when you see the arrow, it's unlocked on the chronograph pusher. The pushers themselves and the crown, they have a vulcanized rubber cover for protection. We have a relatively unusual case design in which a dive watch features somewhat stepped lug profiles. So stepped lug profiles are something you might associate with German dress watches. Unusual to see here, but it gives the watch character. There's also differential direction. They're both brushed. The flanks of the lugs and the flanks of the case are brushed, but the case is longitudinal, and then the lug faces are vertical. Rolling around, you can see that we have a circumferential brushing of the bezel, which has calibrations, making it easy to read in the day. And then we still have plenty of luminescence in the dark. This is a well-loomed watch with a large luminescent index, so easy to use for diving. You can also see that there is an operation indicator on the dial. One of the requirements of a dive watch is that you need to know if it's running, but many dive watches only give you a seconds hand that's not loomed, so you don't actually know in the dark if you're diving deep whether your watch is running. Whereas JLC here gives you this large bicolor operation indicator down at 6 o'clock, so you cannot mistake the watch functional or non-functional. Taking a quick look at the bezel, we also take a listen to the bezel. can see 5 clicks, 5 times 12, 60-click bezel. It has one of the chunkiest actions I've encountered. Along with panorized submersibles and Doxa, I have to say this is the most satisfying detent action and the loudest that I've experienced on a diver. Now, you don't need a tachymeter on a dive watch, yet many companies give you one. The pulsation scale used here is much more practical. It allows you to quickly and easily determine whether your pulse is beginning to accelerate, which can often be a symptom of hypoxia and oxygen starvation. So it's a useful scale for someone who is very serious and mindful while diving. We have lovely metallic applique indices and numerals, and if you look closely at them, you can see they're borrowed from the Polaris 68 dive watch of the 1960s. So we've got a chronograph with instantaneous jumping minutes. We've got chrono seconds at center and chrono hours over at 9 o'clock. We have 2 subsidiary setting modes. Let's unlock once more. We have a hacking seconds function that allows you to set the watch with everything halted, including the operation indicator. And then in the intermediate position, the crown gives you a quick set mechanism, so you can rapidly cycle should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. You can sweep through the dates. The watch is 300 meters water resistant, and it is a true ISO 6425 diver, which means before these left the factory, they were pressurized to 125% of the rated depth, so that's a very conservative number. You can't see what's under the case back, but I can tell you. First of all, JLC is very proud of the Master 1000 Hours control. You can see it on the back. That symbol is the symbol of the 1958 International Geophysical Year. It was originally used on the Geophysic Technician's watch, which was a very rugged and fine and sporty all-arounder created by JLC in 1958. Today, it's the symbol of the Master 1000 Hours control, a 41-day plus test of the fully assembled watch with chronometry tried in 6 positions. Water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, durability, everything is tested. It was one of the first in-house tests to go beyond the scope of the COSC when the Master 1000 Hours control debuted in the 90s. The movement is JLC manufactured caliber 751D, a unidirectional automatic winding chronograph with ceramic rotor bearings, 4 Hz beat rate, 2 mainspring barrels, 65-hour power reserve, a vertical clutch for smooth and seamless operation of the chronograph. You see how there's no jump or secondary movement when I start this? That's because of the vertical clutch, which is seamless. And if you like to run your chrono full-time, by the way, you just saw the instantaneous jump of the minute back there, you can leave vertical clutch chrono running full-time with no additional hazard, wear, or tear to the movement. And column wheel function selector, very crisp and satisfying to operate. Now, this movement features 41 pivot jewels, and it does have the hacking and the quick set functions. It is very tough. It is very fine. It is the first automatic chrono ever offered by JLC. It was a big breakthrough for the company when it came out in the 2000s. And with a 65-hour reserve, it has abundant autonomy. Also with the twin barrels, it has a very flat torque curve for excellent timekeeping, even at the extremes of the power reserve. So if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.